this module, we will examine the use of timber systems in fire-isolated stairs and passageways. In this presentation, we will cover the different stair and passageway construction options, the NCC requirements for sound and fire, and the NCC concessions for stairway components. Fire-isolated stair shafts and passageways in mid-rise timber buildings can be either full timber construction protected by fire-grade linings, or a hybrid with other materials such as concrete or masonry. For timber stairs or passageways, the NCC sound requirement for walls is an airborne performance value RW greater than or equal to 50. The NCC requirements for floors are, for airborne sound, an RW plus CTR greater than or equal to 50, and for impact sound, an LNW less than or equal to 62. The FRL, RISF or MRISF values required for fire-isolated stairs and passageways are the same for those required for lift shafts. For general lightweight timber framed stair shafts and passageways, these are as follows. For Class 2 and 3 residential buildings, for load-bearing walls, an FRL of 90-90-90, and for non-load-bearing walls, -90-90. For mid-rise office buildings of 4 stories and above, the FRL required is of 120-120-120 for load-bearing walls and -120-120 for non-load-bearing walls. For all these 3 classes, an RISF value is also required of 45 minutes, and for the stair landing doors, an FRL is required of -60-30. For massive timber frame stair shafts and passageways, the NCC fire requirements are similar to the general requirements for lightweight construction. However, the MRISF values are different, again with a 30-minute requirement on the outside face of the shaft and a 20-minute requirement on the inside face, which reflects the lower probabilities of severe fires occurring in these areas. In terms of the fire doors to fire-isolated stairs or passageways, these are required to achieve an FRL of -60-30. This slide shows sections through 2 types of frames. On the left, a timber fire door frame, and on the right, a steel fire door frame. It should be noted that all fire door assemblies need to have a required FRL determined in accordance with AS 1530.4 and AS 1905.1 as appropriate. In the 2016 NCC, there is also a new clause, D2.25, which provides a concession for stairways, allowing the use of timber treads, risers, landings and associated supporting framework within a required fire-isolated stairway or fire-isolated passageway, subject to a number of conditions. The first condition is that the timber treads, risers, landings and associated supporting framework must have a finished thickness of not less than 44 millimeters, and secondly, have an average density of not less than 800 kilograms per meter cubed, at a moisture content of 12%. This provides opportunities for a range of higher density hardwood species, a sample of which is shown here. The second condition is that the building's sprinkler system must be extended to provide coverage within the fire-isolated enclosure. And thirdly, that 13mm fire protective grade plasterboard is required to the underside of stair flights and landings, which is at or near a level of egress, or provides direct access to a car park. Typically, it is at this level where people commonly use the underside of stairways as unauthorised storage areas, often for combustible materials. From an acoustic perspective, impact sound from stair usage may vibrate the stair shaft walls, thus creating a pathway for sound transmission. A practical way to prevent this is to make the stair self-supporting, isolating the stair structure by using stringers to support the stairs rather than the lift shaft walls. So in summary, fire-isolated stairs and passageways in mid-rise timber buildings can be either fully timber with fire-protected linings or a hybrid incorporating concrete or masonry. The NCC sound requirements for walls is an airborne requirement RW greater than or equal to 50, and for floors an airborne requirement RW plus CTR greater than or equal to 50, and an impact requirement LNW less than or equal to 62. NCC fire requirements for FRL, RISF and MRISF for stairs and passageways are specified and need to be met. The building's sprinkler system must also be extended to provide coverage within the fire-isolated enclosure. Timber treads, risers, landings and associated supporting framework can be used, but these must have a finished thickness of not less than 44 millimeters and an average density of not less than 800 kilograms per meter cubed. And 13mm fire protective grade plasterboard is also required to the underside of stair landings, at the level of egress or within car parks. For further information on wood and wood products, visit woodsolutions.com.au, the website for wood.